my boyfriend at the time were in what I would lovingly call an expireship. We started dating in October, and we both knew that he was moving to Kentucky in February of the next year. So we decided that we would date until February, until he left, and we would have a meaningful 4-month-long relationship, and then he would leave. I was gonna say greener pastures, but I don't know what the pastures look like in Kentucky. I invited him to my friend's New Year's Eve party. It was very low-key, but there were still a lot of people there, and we were still drinking, enjoying, and having fun. He got along with all of my friends. He even took care of one of my friends that got a little bit too drunk. And as we were leaving, we were walking toward his car, and I could just feel it. I could just feel the energy. I could feel the vibes. And I felt like he could feel them. And we were getting in his car, and we started to drive away, and he pulls over the car, and he looks at me, and he goes, Erin, I feel like you want to say something that just happens to be 3 words. If you want to say it, I just want you to know that you should. And so I looked at him, and I was like, okay. I love you. And he grabbed my face, and he pulled me in, and he kissed me real tight, and then he pushed me away, and then he looked me deep in my eyes, and he said, you know why I can't say it back.
Oh, God. Oh. Why did he make you say it if he wasn't gonna say it back? What the
I was a lifeguard at the biggest water park in Illinois. I look down, I'm like, oh, I lost my whistle. You would get sent home if you don't have it. I'm in a panic, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I probably left it at the top of the slide when we were testing before the park opened. I look to my right. I see this tall, tan man walking towards me. I felt like I was in Baywatch, standing there in my one piece. He was like, Taylor, is this your whistle? Oh, that's my whistle. Thank you so much. He's like, nice to meet you. Walks away. Get home from work that night to a Facebook friend request from him. He actually then messaged me and asked me out on a date. I said yes. We go on the date. It goes wonderfully. 2 years in, dating long distance. I'm going to school at the University of Iowa, and he was working in downtown Chicago. My junior year of college, I got really sick with pneumonia. I ended up in the hospital, and when they released me, my parents brought me back home to Illinois because I lived in a sorority house. I was gonna be home for about 3 days. My boyfriend knew, and he was obviously up in the city. And you would think he'd come see his sick girlfriend. First night I was home, he had to work a night shift, so he didn't come up. For reference, the town I grew up in is about an hour away from Chicago. Second day I was home, he said he was going to come up after work. His shift's over. I'm waiting for him to text me to say that he's on his way. I start trying to call, and it's just going straight to his voicemail, like his phone's dead. When I wake up in the morning, still no text or anything. I start throwing a conniption. My parents are like, what the hell? He just never came? My mom's like, this is fishy. Something is up. I pop on over to the little Twitterverse, click on his profile, go to his following. I had remembered that he recently followed some girl from the Chicago area. I click on the girl, read her first retweet. One of her friends from that morning. It reads, when you wake up and see Sonia in bed with herself, a man, and a dog. P.S. Sonia doesn't have a dog. My little a boyfriend had just gotten a puppy. So I knew that was about him. I go berserk and I start calling his phone nonstop. He finally picks up. Like, oh my God, Taylor, I'm so sorry. I lost my phone. I couldn't find it. And I tried to message you off Facebook Messenger on my laptop. No, he did not. At this point, I'm like, I don't even get about last night. What is this tweet? What the heck is this? Of course, denies the whole thing, says it's not him, that I'm crazy. My parents are supposed to be driving me back to Iowa in an hour. Eventually get off the phone from World War III. He admits to absolutely nothing. I go back to look for the tweet, and it's then deleted. How convenient for him. My parents start driving me back to Iowa. He calls me on the way there, and he tells me that he thinks he needs some space. In hindsight, I should have been like, good, go get your space. I was young, I was in love. I'm a Queen Taylor crying over this stupid little... I'm hyperventilating over the word space. Hours goes by, he calls back and says he doesn't need space. I just kind of gladly go with it. That next weekend coming up, I decide to drive from Iowa to Chicago. It's about a 5-hour drive, and surprise him. Maybe in the back of my mind too, I really had a deeper meaning. I was hoping I would catch him cheating on me, I think. Keep listening because it gets good. I drive to Chicago, get up there. He's actually elated to see me. He's like, oh my gosh, you have to stay the whole weekend. So I stay Friday night. Saturday during the day, I knew he had to work, so I'd be hanging out at his apartment alone. Sitting there watching Netflix on his laptop. And this silly little left his Facebook open on his computer. Go to the messages, and there's my bestie Sonia at the top. Read through the messages. They had been seeing each other for 2 months. Oh, and he knew about me too. Didn't care that he had a girlfriend. And the message of him telling her to have her friend delete that tweet. Full-blown messages about how beautiful she was, how attracted she was to him. I'm reading all these messages and I was like, get real with yourself, Taylor. Came up to Chicago because you had a hunch he was cheating and you just found everything. The laptop down on his bed with the messages open, grabbed my car keys and left. Drove to my parents' house, so then I cried for hours and hours.
I knew the minute that tweet got deleted. Like, how dumb do you have to be? He goes and he tells her to delete the tweet. She's already seen it. If it really wasn't you in that tweet, then why is it suddenly missing?
I just came home from a concert where my boyfriend was performing, and let me start off by saying he was magnificent. He was a rock star. He had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hands until he did something that was unforgivable in my book. Now let's rewind real quick. Before Luke went to said concert, I said, hey Luke, by the way, when you're backstage with the other bands, don't drink anything that they give you. You never know what people have in their drinks, blah, blah, blah. You know, I think that's a pretty easy request. And Luke's like, oh my gosh, Kirby, no, that's totally not me. I would never do that. I'm like, okay, great. He goes and he has his guitar solo. The girls are fawning over him. They're going nuts and Luke is just eating it up. He's by the barricade playing like this and the girls are like, ah! Now that's not what I was mad at. I love that. In fact, I'm cheering it on. I'm there like, yeah, you go girls, because I'm like, I
That's
got that.
mine.
But then, this is where Luke did something so horrible to me. A girl in the front has her cup in the air, reaches down, grabs the cup. I don't know if this man was having out-of-body experience and he thought he was Post Malone. And he chugs the liquid. I don't even know what was in there. Luke didn't know what was in there. It could have been anything in that cup. So, dangerous, number one. Number two, germs. I am a germaphobe. I've mentioned this multiple times, and Luke knows this about me, which is why this is a betrayal of trust. I do not swap spit with anybody, in fact, except for Luke. Now, this man he's just intermingled somebody's saliva into our shared saliva trust thing. So,
How dare he? Could have been worse, honestly. I feel like he just got a little caught up in the moment, right? To be fair, I think the germ part is like, that makes sense.
Ladies, take notes. So I was dating this guy and he hung out with other guys that really led me to believe that he had a lot of money in his own life, whatever. No, I'm not a gold digger. I just want a guy that could provide me with whatever I could provide him, period. Anyways, but after a while, this guy like wouldn't leave my house. It was like 2 months, and out of like 8 weeks, he spent like 6.5 of them at my house. And I'm a double fire sign, so I really need my space. That was not the business. I had to kick this boy not 1, not 2, but 3 times. Had to kick this boy out. He would not take the hint that it was over. He would leave random in my house so that he would text me and be like, hey, I have to come back. I left random. And then he would try to stay for days. So I was like, what's the best way to get a guy to never talk to you again? I told this boy that I was head over heels with him and that we should get married.
I actually did this once and it backfired, but can confirm the way to scare a guy away is say, I'm so in love with you. Can you get me pregnant? I would love to have your child.